July, but discontent remains widespread and is still expressed online.
Guys, this is the Diani White House project.
Morara Kebaso visits stalled and abandoned government projects.
The Diani White House project is under construction and is also generating more jobs and more opportunities.
These are the opportunities. Hii nyasi, hii ni opportunity A, opportunity B, opportunity D, opportunity C.
And tells his roughly 1 million social media followers how much public money has been spent and lost.
There's been progress on the side of the people, but no progress on the side of the government. The people have become more enlightened. They have become more willing to transcend from their tribal lines to come and join together as a nation and fight for change.
President Ruto's promised reforms and slammed his critics. He spoke on Independence Day, known as Jamhuri Day.
Jamhuri Day is also a moment for Kenyans.
This time round, Morara Kebaso has gone international, and he has been featured in Al Jazeera on his work he has been doing in the 2024. For the better part of 2024, Morara Kebaso was really the talk of the town and Kenya in general because of the work which he was doing. He was moving around the country exposing stalled projects which were from stadiums, road, and even many other things like 2.5 billion project of fishery in Homa Bay County. And many Kenyans loved it, many Kenyans saw hope in him. And of 2025 is starting, maybe he has different plans, but of now, Morara Kebaso is a top government critic who has been really on the toes of Kenya Kwanza regime.
Like usijiblame ati uko poor juu huna degree, ama uko poor juu huna masters, ama uko poor juu kutoka familia rich. Uko poor juu hii system si fair. Hii system ina privilege wale watu wenye tayari ni matajiri. Wao ndio wanaweza make more. We mwenye ni maskini, kitu ya kwanza you need two things. Either upate job ama uanzishe biz. Job hutapata juu ya ukabila, juu ya nepotism. Sasa kuanzisha biz nayo hutaanzisha juu ya capital.
Environment pia si conducive. Unahitaji
$1,000,000 ama unahitaji 200. Tuseme tu pesa kidogo.
Yeah.
Unahitaji 30,000. Unataka ukuwe na trolley ya smoky mayai. Unataka tu 10k. Utaboro kwa bank gani? Bank kitu ya kwanza inakuitisha ni title ama logbook. Huna juu tayari hujaanza ndo ukue nayo. So unashika. So unapata ma youth man wengi wanamaliza form 4. Sasa unaona Kasongo amefanya university education imekuwa expe. So hata enda university na hata enda college atabaki tu hapo. Na venye amebaki hapo msi haizi anza biz na haizi pata job. Sasa hao ma youth watafanya nini? Crime, drug abuse, misuse by politicians. Unaona vijana kila time politician akitokea mahali kuna vijana kama 1,000. Na ni Monday. Unashindwa wametoka wapi? Juu wako idol wako mtaa. Sasa kila mtaa ukienda saa hii kuna kitu inaitwa jobless corner. Kila mtaa hadi ushago kuna mahali wase ukuja tu kuketi.
Wako base.
Kutegea job. Mse yako na mjengo akuja wachukue ndo akwe mtu wa mkono. Mtu gari yake imekwama kwa matope akuja wachukue asukume gari. Mtu amepasua mbao huko mtoni ataka zipande huko juu kwa barabara akuja wachukue. Mtu mwenye analima mawe kwa migodi akuja wachukue walime mawe. Mtu anaenda ku harvest sand kwa river awachukua wape vijiko wa harvest sand wapate. Najua wame give up in life. Ile doa akipata hata hawatumii kujitoa kwa poverty. Wanatumia ile doa kujisteam na kuingia aire. Sasa ukikutana nao masaa zenye far from sunrise and far from sunset, unapata washapiga zao. So hawana hope ya kuwaitoka kwa hiyo life. Wamekuwa circle. Ni uamke, utafute, ukule food, ukunywe pombe ama upige madre, ulale, uamke, upige shughuli, madre, vicious cycle of poverty. Ndio kitu tunataka kuchange kwa country yetu. Na itaanza na young people. Wazae wasifeel ni kama ninawaacha nje. Sijawaacha nje. But believe you me, nikiguza young people nitawaondolea mzigo kubwa sana. Because every young person akona dream ya kujengea mama yake nyumba. Every young person akona dream ya kama babake ni mgonjwa ako na dream ya pia kuwa able kulipa bill. Every young person ako na hiyo dream. Ukiempower young people, hata old people hawataji kuwaka. Mapero yetu watatulia tu, kuna watoto 4, kila mtu ako na pesa.
Yeah.
Unashughulika nini?
Morara Kebaso was also seen making another speech, which he cited that this is the speech which Kenyans are supposed to hear. He was hinting on good governance and how the result of good governance are supposed to be. So this speech was all about if he becomes a president, and this is transitioning from 2027 to 2088 there. Here is the victory speech and how Kenya is supposed to listen to a speech for a developing nation, a nation which is working things for its citizens.
Fellow Kenyans, this has been a year of great strides. We have conquered our fears with indomitable strength and unrivaled passion. As we celebrate Christmas of 2028 and usher in the new year 2029, I must say that I am a proud father to a nation of hard-working, resilient, and talented people. Our economy has recovered from the pits of death. The Kenya shilling has grown in leaps and bounds, exchanging at 102 shillings to the dollar as of yesterday. The stabilization of our currency has reduced our debt burden significantly. It has lowered the cost of imports and increased the value of our exports. The prices of commodities has gone down historically in a way that we have not seen in 15 years. My government has reduced taxes but increased the revenue that we collect by expanding the tax base. We have created new markets and sources of income for Kenyans. We have also reduced cash hemorrhage through corruption. Today, the Kenya Revenue Authority boasts of a collection of revenue of 340 billion shillings monthly and is on track to hit the annual revenue target of 4 trillion by next year, June 2029. Fellow Kenyans, our shameful days of dependence on aid and expensive loans is over. We shall build our nation using our own sweat. We have increased the access to capital for all people that want to start businesses. Our banks have more liquidity and willingness to lend due to the reduction of government appetite for domestic borrowing. As I speak to you today, the average interest rate for a business loan is 14% per annum. The digitization of key assets and securities has reduced the default rate, thus making our banks and financial institutions more resilient. Fellow countrymen, as I promised you in my campaign, I have made good my commitment to recover stolen wealth and repay our debt. This year, we have recovered cash equivalent of $32 billion, which is approximately 3.2 trillion Kenya shillings as per our current exchange rate. This has not been without its challenges. The mobilization of tribalism to defend the theft of public resources is on the rise. The formation of criminal gangs and armed groups by former state officials continues to threaten our national security, peace, and cohesion. I want to assure them that I will stop at nothing to recover every single penny stolen from our country. In this effort, I recognize the good partnership and diplomatic relationship that Kenya has enjoyed with our international partners and governments around the world. With surgical precision, we have restored public confidence in state institutions. Today, we boast of an independent judiciary devoid of political influence, bribery, and corruption. Once again, I commend the new Judicial Service Commission under the leadership of the Chief Justice for working overtime to hear and determine more than 150 petitions against various judicial officers accused of corruption, favorism, and incompetence. I have received a recommendation for the removal from office of 3 Supreme Court judges, 6 Court of Appeal judges, 20 High Court judges, and 110 magistrates. The judicial officers shall cease to hold office immediately. The new director of DCI and DPP shall prepare their files for criminal prosecution. Earlier this year, I made an executive order to significantly reduce the size of the government. Pursuant to this intervention, I am excited to report that the recurrent expenditure, including the wage bill, has reduced to 40% of our budget from 73%. This has increased the available resources for development to 60% of the budget. Ridiculous offices, like those of the spouses of state officers, were scrapped off. The size of cabinet has been reduced to 14 ministries, and various state departments and corporations with overlapping functions were merged. Fellow Kenyans, as we move into the new year of 2029, I urge all of you to support the government-initiated referendum bill of 2029. This bill seeks to amend the Constitution and further reduce the size and cost of running government. Of priority is the reduction of the size of our parliament to a more lean and effective house. A few weeks ago, I appointed a presidential task force on education funding reforms to recommend policy interventions that will reduce the cost of learning in Kenya. I welcome your recommendations. Ladies and gentlemen, as your father and as your president, I am proud of you. I wish you a Merry Christmas, full of love, and a Happy New Year 2029. Asanteni sana, mjibambe.